You know, a lot of our young officers riding around in the street today have no idea what those things are out there. They don't have a clue. And I want to thank you for helping to preserve a very important part of police history. And it's something that, as I say, a lot of our guys don't know what those are, and they certainly have no concept of what it meant to pull a box as a policeman in the city of Washington, D.C. I brought with me the guts of a call box that I keep in the police museum. Yes, we have a very small police museum on the 6th floor of headquarters. If you want to get in touch with me and come see it, it's a sort of a latchkey museum, but it's the best I can do. I'm doing all right. But if you go and take a look at that box, it'll show you exactly how the telephone mechanism would fit in a call box. This call box out here was originally part of the 4th precinct, which then became the 1st district. By 1891, all 9 precincts in the city had call boxes. I was doing a little research before I came and spoke to you, and one of the things I found out was it was called a box on one term because the original design for the call boxes, or citizen boxes, in the District of Columbia was supposed to be not unlike, it's probably the precursor to a phone booth. It was supposed to be something that each citizen had a key to. They could then go unlock it, step inside, secure themselves, presumably they're being chased or they're about to identify someone who's committed a crime, and pick up a phone and call the police, and then the police would come and get them out. So I believe you're really seeing the beginnings of the telephone booths, which was the original idea for having a safe mechanism through which you could contact the police. It was probably going to be misused and abused like a lot of our safety systems were, so I think they saw fit to just give policemen a key. So this is a highly sought after piece of history. It is a call box key, and it was an integral part. And I didn't use it. I'm not that old. It is something that was a policeman's lifeline. So from 1891 all the way up until the late 70s, and the call boxes in a lot of the districts, they're now districts, weren't turned off until the early 80s. Policemen were still using them. Of course, as we got handheld radios, the necessity for having a call box became less and less. And the only time policemen would really use them was to get a landline before cell phones so they could say something over a phone or talk to an investigator without putting it over the police radio, which everyone could monitor. So they were still being used for efficiency and in furtherance of investigations. But footmen, which is what they were called, or originally they were called roundsmen, who would go around from each precinct, would have to do what's called pulling a box. And you had to get a mark, either on the hour or on the half. So you're either at 9 o'clock, you've got to get over to a box, unlock it, and when you pull the receiver up, a light would go on in the precinct. And below the light would be a number, something that would indicate to that person who's managing what was called the Patrol Signal Systems book, the PSS book, where you were. And if the sergeant in the station was doing his job, he would know you shouldn't be calling from the same box twice within the hour. Obviously, you're not getting to where you're supposed to be. It's interesting, if you look on this map that was provided on the postcard, these locations here, I understand some of these are fire boxes and some are call boxes, police call boxes. A policeman on his beat, on his foot beat, could have as many as 6 boxes. So he better know where each one of those boxes are, because that is his lifeline. But he also better know that if he's at 7th and Main, he better be up at 6th and G the next time he calls in. When he calls in, the person at the desk would then give him any relevant information to say, yeah, the Johnsons are fighting again, you better get over there. And of course, the hazardous part of being a footman, and the one that most of the older policemen will tell you about, and there are lots of cartoons about this, is when you make an arrest, you got to get that guy to the box so you can call for a transport. So I think the policemen were a little bit harsher, perhaps a little bit meaner back in the day, in order to make sure they didn't have to fight for their lives every time they were trying to get somebody to the call box and wait for transport. And as I said, it's almost part of police lore, that whole issue. You have these wonderful stories of policemen fighting with somebody all the way to the call box just to get this guy so he can call for the wagon and wait for the wagon to come and get him in there. So the call box really is a policeman's lifeline. and it's, of course, a part of a bygone era in law enforcement. But we in the Metropolitan Police Department, and I in particular, as the police historian, truly appreciate what you're doing. I can't wait to see what's out there. Other communities have done these and preserved them, and I'd just like to thank you very much.